It's just fantastic. Captain's log, subdates 210826.1. With drills underway, I've polished my Atlan trident so I can run it through the last man standing during this negotiations and trading. And I also want to do it because I look good dressed as the ocean moister. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with an honourable mention. Brighton and Hove County Council, which is run by the Green Party, in their efforts to, by 2022, ban all pesticides, to be a pesticide-free city. Congratulations, by 2022. Well, in 2019 they banned glyphosate, which is a key ingredient in most, if not all, weed killers, which has led to the town being overrun by weeds. Now they've blamed this on the COVID-19 pandemic. But because of this, they've now got to hire external contractors, gardeners, to come in and kill all the weeds with pesticides. Because as it's destroying the pathways, there's no version of this where they can just use a power spray because it won't kill it at the root. You're geniuses. Go green. Ruin the paths. Go green. Ruin the local communities by making them look even more trashy than usual. Go green and we'll turn your city into green. Granted, they've held Brighton for an incredibly long time. I don't see that changing anytime soon. But if you're going to go green, at least have the decency to have an alternative to deal with weed problems so people can walk about on the pavements as opposed to the roads. So to our first subject, we go to something sent to me by MC on Twitter. Something you may wish to keep an eye on. Ooh, I wonder what this is. For this, we go to 19-year-old Scarlett Bareham, whatever, who went out partying with her friends, Hannah and Fiona, in Guildhall Walk, which is in Portsmouth last year. This must have happened during either before the lockdowns even began or briefly when one was granted respite. During those lockdowns, there's little 3 to 4 week gaps where we got to go outside and breathe fresh air for a moment. I've noticed a few other creators talk about this, and they've all agreed that this is equality in action. The equality many people have been pushing for being given to those who you wouldn't expect to be on the receiving end of it. So during this night out of partying at nightclubs, Scarlett approached a man, and in doing so committed the most heinous of crimes worthy of the ISO cubes. She smacked that man on the bottom. She tapped that ass. Understandably, the girlfriend of him objected, but she was punched until she was unconscious by one of Scarlett's friends. The friend is being charged with affray and assault causing actual bodily harm, and she's going to appear at Crown Court sometime soon. For Scarlett, though, she's been charged with sexual assault for slapping that ass. Now, I personally think this is bonkers, but at the same time, without given consent, you shouldn't be touching another person anyway, no matter how juicy, perky, firm that ass may well look or feel, depending on how hard you slapped it. Did he give you a safety word? With this particular case going through a Crown Court, I am going to keep you updated, because if it does end up with some fines or a very short suspended prison sentence, we can certainly address it in the halls of injustice, or more than likely just provide an update on Twitter. So to our next subject, we go to one of my favourite power metal bands, Glory Hammer. Recently they played a show after a year and a half. Yay! They're meant to be touring with Ailstorm this year. Christopher has a busy tour ahead of him since all 3 of the bands playing on that tour he's in, although chances are they'll use the touring keyboardist who plays Saga Thrax for Glory Hammer, but not the recorded version. It gets a little confusing, but there's a point here. A few days ago I noticed on Angus McFife's Instagram, that's Thomas Winkler, the singer for Glory Hammer, that he put out a statement. Dear friends and fans of Glory Hammer, this morning I received an email from the band informing me that they want to part ways with me. As a reason they mentioned disagreements on business and organisational matters. I don't want to bother going through the rest. I am keen to see what he does next, yes, whether it be Angus McFife or somebody else entirely. Many have been very polarised on this. Either Gloryhammer is Angus McFife, or there's a chance they'll survive. I personally think they've only released 3 albums in 10 years, so I'm not entirely sure whether they've plateaued now or whether there's more to come. And I'm not going to criticise their business decisions as being a motivating factor, but I am going to criticise from the very first sentence. This morning I received an email. You guys played a show together a week earlier. You were there in person, but you broke up via email? That's, I mean, it looks professional, but I can certainly understand the vitriol and anger aimed towards members of Gloryhammer when you've done this by email. Not that I justify it, and I mean this seriously because I'm a genuine fan. When I'm on Twitch, I raid the Hootsman, who's the bass player for Gloryhammer, as often as I can. I genuinely like him and I like his streams. Whether it be the video gameplay, the poker, or painting Warhammer, or even him just talking. I enjoy that. And I am interested to see how Gloryhammer go forward, because if you've listened to their music, Angus McFife XIII is dead, so they can just create a new character, but sustainability might play a part here, and it's always going to be a difficult thing to replace a singer because they're the front man, front woman, front other, whichever you want to call yourself. They are often seen as the face of the band, which is why many might draw concern, or see an issue with replacing. And the best example I can give you is Dragon Force. When Zippy left after the 4th album Ultra Beatdown, they got Mark Hudson. Since then, they've released 4 more albums, each one going further and further down the charts. That's not because of Mark Hudson, of course, they've changed direction and chances are their popularity waned anyway, but it's just an example others will point at, and I find it fascinating. So next we're going to go to a very serious subject. Many people have heard what's going on in Australia at the moment, some pointing out that Australia is going through a bit of a renaissance when it comes to prison colony. Understandably so, there are a lot of things that are utter BS over there, but the one that stood out to me is the one that others have sent to me, and the one that annoys me the most, because I like animals more than I do people, alright? Several dogs that were impounded at a New South Wales rural council area called Burke. Let's call it Berkshire Council, which is in the northwest of that state, euthanized dogs to prevent volunteers at a Cobar-based animal shelter from travelling to pick up the animals last week, because they've interpreted the government's COVID-19 restrictions and decided, get the guns boys, meat's back on the menu. Now, the Office of Local Government, or OLG, has been informed that the council decided to take this course of action to protect its employees and community, including vulnerable Aboriginal populations, from the risk of a COVID-19 transmission. But this has led to much public outcry and now a local government probe. They're going to do nothing about it, quite frankly, and we all know it because the vast majority of people don't actually care about animals in the slightest. They can say they do, but they really don't. And using this as a reason to euthanize a lot of dogs is utter bollocks. Quite frankly, the people who did that now need to live in those cages and stay there on dog biscuits. You get dry ones, alright? You're not even getting the cool little white bone ones that, I'll be honest, most of us have tried as a child. No, you're getting the horrible black ones that are shaped like a house. So to our final subject, and this one aggravates me for many, many reasons. It was sent to me by a few people on Discord. It was sent to me by a few people on Twitter. On Monday I made a video talking about OnlyFans and a change of direction. That video got me a community warning because I provided an archive link to the article site Insider, talking about it, originally flagged for nudity, and then upon appeal flagged for spam and deceptive practices, which has led to me now linking all my sources, as you'll notice down in the comments, as a pinned comment, so as to avoid getting a bloody strike. The very first on my record, a warning. So I addressed it on Tuesday, speaking about this more frankly, and I believe I got my point across. Well, OnlyFans have dropped the planned ban on the extreme material they were seeking to ban so as to drive up interest from investors. So it will instead allow the more interesting content, premium, pay-per-view content that they were trying to move away from, which puts them in an interesting position when they try to comply with policies of banking partners. So on Wednesday, the company said, secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community, suggesting it has a new agreement with banks to pay content creators, which would include those who produce that premium, extreme content. I'm using the word extreme, of course it's not really that, but I can't use the other words in case I get flagged. They've also said, thank you, everyone, for making your voices heard. We have secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community and have suspended the planned October 1st policy change. Oh, look at that. They've U-turned faster than a Tory government. How interesting and frustrating. Now, as we're done, yes, I got a warning for this, and that's what you've done. I'd like to know what you think. Please do let me know in the comments down below, and if you did like this video, please consider liking and sharing it. Really drive up the engagement, it really helps. As we push to 100,000. We're just over 1,000 away. We're doing really well, thank you for that. As a final thing, I'm going to be streaming Assassin's Creed Odyssey on Twitch tonight. If I don't see you there, have a fantastic day. Twitch is linked down below. Thank you all very much for listening.